Hi all, welcome to the SQL training session. This is Mamta Rajput and today we will learn what is trigger in the SQL Server. So topics which we are going to cover in today's session is we'll understand what is trigger, then we'll understand the types of triggers which is available in the SQL Server based on the level. Like we have a DML triggers, DDL triggers and login triggers. Then we will understand the types of trigger on the basis of when it is got triggered. Then we will see all this type of the triggers in the practical demo, and we will create the trigger in SQL Server. Then we will see how we can disable and enable the triggers. Also, we will see how we can drop this trigger as well. Then the lastly, we will see how we can make use of this trigger for the auditing of SQL Server. Okay, so without any further delay, let's get started. So firstly, what is trigger? Trigger is basically a database objects that run automatically when an events occur. Okay, so in SQL Server there are three types of the events mainly: DML events, DDL events, and login events. So DML events are those events that will be created, that will be invoked when the DML statement is executed. DML statement like insert, update, and delete. These are the DML statement on the table. So whenever this DML statement will be fired on the table, then the DML event will occur. So on this DML event, the DML trigger, we can write the DML trigger that will be executed automatically. Similarly, we have a DDL trigger which is invoked automatically whenever a DDL statement is executed on database level, like on schema, on the statements like alter, drop, and create. These are the DDL statements. And login triggers are the special kind of triggers that will be fired when a login event occurs. That is when user session is being established. Okay, so why this is required? Sometimes we wanted to restrict the number of users logging into the SQL Server. That time we can create this sort of login triggers. Now, so these are the triggers based on the label. So DML state triggers is always on the data table level because the DML statement is fired on table. DDL triggers is always on the database level because this is fired on the database. Like we alter the table inside the database, we drop the table and we create a new table inside the database. So these DDL triggers are always on the database level. Then logon trigger is always on the server level. Okay, so this is the so this is a basic difference. DML triggers are data table level, DDL is on database level, and logon trigger is on the server level. Then we have a type of triggers based on when it should be triggered. Like when do you want this triggers to be executed? Whenever the event occurs. So do you want to execute the triggers before the event occur, or do you want to execute after the event occur? Okay, or do you want to execute the trigger instead of the event occur? Okay, so on the basis of that we have three types of the triggers. So let's see the practical demo. So I'll switch to the SSMS here. If you see on the left hand side, I have adventure works as a demonstration purpose. So we have one table here, human resource and department. So if you see how many records we have 18 records here. And so first of all, we will create the DML trigger, and DML triggers like on insert, update, and delete. And we will create an instead of a DML trigger. So the syntax would be like this. We need to write create trigger, then we need to provide the name of the trigger. So name of the trigger is trig department, and we wanted to fire this trigger on the department table. Okay, and when do you want to execute this trigger? We wanted to invoke this trigger instead of update command. So update command is DML. Okay, instead is when it got triggered, and this is the name of trigger. Now you can ask what is the human resource here. So human resource is nothing but a schema of this table. So if you see, if you are wanted to invoke the trigger on some particular table and that table is under some sort of schema, then you also need to create the trigger under that schema. So the syntax would be like create trigger, schema name, then trigger name, on schema name, then table, and when do you want to create instead of update command as, and this is the body of the trigger. So what you want to do inside of the trigger, I wanted to raise an error that department cannot be updated. they can only be marked as not current. So basically what it is doing, this trigger is whenever an update statement would be happened on this department table, this trigger would be invoked automatically behind the scene and raise the error that department cannot be updated. And the update is also not been happened. Why? Because we have created an instead of trigger. Okay, so instead of updating it, it will trigger stating that department cannot be updated. So how? So let's create it and we'll see. Let me create this trigger. See, command completed successfully. Trigger is executed. Now where we can see this trigger. So as I told you earlier, the DML trigger is on the data table level. So this is the table. Expand this table and here you see there is a folder trigger. Expand this folder. Let me, okay, I'm sorry, I'm checking in the wrong table. This is the table human resource dot department, and refresh the table first. Expand the trigger. See, so the trigger what you have created, trig underscore depart, that is available here. Here you can see it. So now it's a time to execute, to update something on this table and see the effect, how the trigger will be executed. So I have already have some statement written over here to save the time. So there is a statement here, update, let me uncomment it. So I'm going to update a record in the department table and I'll see how this trigger will be executed automatically. I'm not going to execute this trigger because we cannot execute it. It should be invoked automatically. So let me go ahead and fire this update query here. See, it says department cannot be updated. They can only be marked as not current. Okay, and it has not been updated. See, I try to update when the department ID is 10. Try to update with the name finance. Okay, when department ID 10. So you can see also it has not been updated. At 10, the name is still finance. It was finance earlier also. If you wanted to see it again, let me update it. Trigger is automatically invoked and we got the message here. Let me check here. The name is finance. Okay, I'm going and make it as a 1 and trigger invoked. We'll see the update has happened or not. See, it is still finance. It is not finance 1. That means the instead of trigger says that instead of updating the command, I will execute, trigger will be executed and this message would be give provided to us. Okay, similarly we can perform the same sort of trigger on the insert operation. So as I already have a trigger with the same name, so let me, instead of creating a new trigger for the insert command, I go ahead and alter the same trigger. Okay, and department cannot be inserted. Let me modify and let me alter this trigger, the existing trigger. Now let me try to insert one record here. Let me try to insert one record and I'll show you how the trigger will be executed. So give this name as a 4 group. Department cannot be inserted. They can only be marked as not current. Okay, so trigger has been invoked. Let me go ahead and see whether a new record is been inserted or not. See, we do not have any new record with the test 4. So that means instead of trigger is doing their job. Similarly, we can do for delete as well. So instead of delete, let me alter the same trigger. Department cannot be deleted. Let me give the message accordingly. Execute the trigger and let me test this trigger after deletion. I try to delete this record. The trigger is invoked. Department cannot be deleted. they can only be marked as okay. Here you see whether the department ID is deleted. No, it is not deleted. Okay, so this is the this way we can create a instead of trigger. What if we wanted to create after trigger? So we want a trigger to be executed after the delete operation will be performed on the department. So department is deleted, department got deleted. So let me alter this trigger. So what I am doing here, so instead of keyword we need to only change after keyword, and we need to give the operation, what operation we wanted to do. Then we need to change the message here. Now we wanted to test it. Okay, how we can test it? Now you go ahead and delete some rows. So instead of this, I wanted to delete some random row. Let me check, and I wanted to delete this 17. Okay, the 17 row, department ID with 17. So I'll go here and delete with delete a row where department ID is 17. Okay, executed. It says department got deleted. Okay, they can only be marked as a current. This is the same message, so I should delete, I should remove this as well. Okay, and now you see whether the record is deleted or not. So 17th department ID is 17. If you see, we do not have a department ID with the 17. So this trigger will this trigger will be executed, will be invoked automatically. So similarly we can do for insert, and we can do for update as well. Okay, so you understood, I guess. Then we have a before trigger. So for before we do not have a before keyword. For before we usually use the for keyword. Okay, so let's see if I wanted to fire a trigger automatically, invoke the trigger automatically when an insert uh, statement would happen, insertion would happen on the department table, and I want this trigger to be executed before the actual insertion would happen. So for that we need to use the for keyword here. So let me go ahead and execute it. To test it, I need to insert one record here. So I'm going to insert one record here. So what will happen? First it will give me the trigger message, and then it will insert the row into the table. So department got, okay, I'm sorry, this message I have not changed. Department got inserted. Let me change this and modify and execute the trigger again. Then I'll execute this. Okay, once I have, let me see, test 5 executed. So department got inserted, and let me check whether the department has inserted actually. A new department has with the test 5. See, the new department with the name test 5 got inserted. So you understood the main criteria is to create a DML state triggers are, we need like on the data table label. So we create the triggers that will be invoked automatically once the DML statement would be performed on the table, particular table. So and if you wanted to enable, so there is an option of enable and disable trigger as well. Let me refresh the table and go to trigger. So as of now, once you created the trigger, by default it got enabled. But just in case in future, do you want to disable it, there is an option to disable also. So or and there and if you wanted to drop the trigger, then there is an option of delete as well. So let me go ahead and disable this trigger, as we do not need this trigger anymore. So let me disable it. So here you can notice the red icon is saying the disable. So in future, if you think like we need to enable it again, then you can right click and enable it again. Now we jump to the DDL triggers. Okay, so as I told you that we have a DDL events are those events that will be on the database level. So the commands which comes under the DDL events is create, drop, and alter. Okay, so for in DDL events also we have three types of the triggers. Instead of, we can create instead of, for, and after trigger. So let me create one trigger here. Create trigger on. Let me create trigger on create event on particular database for creating a table. Okay, table, new table created. So whenever a new table got created inside this database, adventure work database, so this trigger would be invoked automatically and give me a message that new table got created in database. Okay, so let me go ahead and execute this trigger. So syntax would be more or less is the same for DDL and DML triggers. Only the thing is in DML triggers we have the table name, and in DDL triggers we have the database here. So let me go ahead and execute it. Now this trigger is executed. Now if you want to see where this trigger got execute is available, so so you need to check on the database label. So collapse this table and you check, refresh the database. Then you need to see, go to the programmability and security. Where let me see where is the, so here in the database you see the database label under the programmability folders there is a folder database trigger. If you expand it you can see the trigger which you have created as of now, just now, that is available here. Trigger trig create. Okay, and if you created the DML triggers, that is available on particular table, inside of particular table here. Okay, and if and DDL triggers will be available under the programmability folder under the database triggers here. So now the trigger is created. We need to check? We need to check this trigger whether it is working fine or not. So this trigger is created on the create operation. So that means whenever we create a new table inside the database, this trigger would be execute will be invoked. So let me create one random table, let's say test table. Okay, and give some sort of name as varchar 10 and go. So I'm creating some random table inside of this database, and see, we got a message new table got created in database. So we have not executed this trigger. So trigger is got invoked automatically when we create this table. Okay, let's say the same we wanted to alter the table. Okay, we wanted to alter the table. So whenever any table got altered on the database, we want this trigger to be executed. So let me modify this trigger. The same, we can create another trigger as well if you wanted. We can create another uh, trigger, and we will give a message table definition got updated in database. Okay, so let me go ahead and add one more column here. Alter table to test it. Add column, column like city. Okay, there is no need of this keywords. Column varchar. So let me alter this table. I have created this, I think I have created this trigger. Okay, and if you wanted to refresh and see this, the one more trigger is been created. Okay, now to test this trigger, alter the table which we have created recently. See, the table definition got updated in database, so this trigger got invoked as well. So if you wanted to drop as well, you can create an, either you can create a new trigger or you can modify it. So for testing purpose, I am modifying the trigger to save some time here. Then table got dropped. We'll give or a table dropped in database. Okay, so create let me create a new, as I have changed the name of the trigger. So I need to create this trigger here, execute it. So this is executed. You can refresh this database trigger and you see one more trigger got created here. To test it, you need to drop the table to see the effect. So I wanted to drop this sample table which I have created few minutes back. Let me drop it and see we got the message table dropped in the database. So this way you can create a DDL events. Okay. Now the third is we need to see how we can enable and disable the triggers. Similarly, as we have enabled and disabled the triggers in at the table level, we can also enable and disable this DDL triggers at the database level. So there are the options here, disabling and delete also if you wanted to drop it. Okay. So as of now, I don't want these triggers to be enabled. So let me delete or let me disable this triggers. Let me disable this trigger as well and let me refresh it. Okay, this database level trigger you cannot, you need to delete it. So let me delete it as a, this is only for the demonstration purpose. Okay, the next is logon triggers. So logon triggers are basically those triggers which will be created whenever the login event occur, whenever the user session will be established. So I will cover the login trigger. This that is a huge chapter itself. I will cover the login trigger in the separate session video. Then the last topic would be how we can use the trigger for auditing of the SQL Server tables. Okay, so suppose there is a scenario where we wanted to see whether this particular table, suppose the department table, you wanted to keep keep tracking of all the update, delete, or insertion whenever it happened on the table. So you wanted to keep track of those. So in short, you wanted to keep the auditing of this table in some other table. Okay, so for that, how you can make use of the triggers. So in such scenarios, triggers are very useful. You do not need to write a separate store procedure to uh, keep track of insertion, updation, and deletion which is happened on the department table. Instead, you can write a simple trigger statement. How we can do it? Let me show you. Okay. So here, let me open a new query. See, in this department table, if you see, we have 19 rows. So we have department ID, name, group name, and modified date. So similarly, to keep track of whatever has happened on this table, we need to have a separate table. So I have created one more table already, department with department audit name. So if you see here, so we have only one. We have the same structure in both the table. If you see, I have the same structure: department ID, name, group name, modified date. Only the I have added one more column operation, so that whenever something happens, something like insertion happens, so the insertion will be inserted into the operation. So what kind of the operation will be performed on the particular date, that will be traced here, that will be logged here. So for that purpose, I have created one more column in the department audit. Okay, now I needed to create one trigger. So I have created, so let me create, I have create one trigger here. Create trigger and want give the name of the trigger department audit. So I have given the name of the trigger as a trigger department audit, because I wanted to keep track of the keep the audit of this department, and I want this on which table, and I wanted to keep the audit after only the after, not before. So whenever the insert delete will happen, so let me remove the update. I'll tell you why I'm removing the update operation here. So I'll keep it simple and I'll keep only the insert and update. So whenever insert or delete will be happen on the department table, so it will keep, so it will take that time whenever the insertion will be happen, and it will take that particular row that has been inserted or deleted in the department table to, and it will log that the same row which is inserted and deleted in the department audit, and it will give and it will insert the operation as well. So this is the begin insert into. So what this trigger will do, basically it will insert the record in the department id, department audit, select, and it will take the data from inserted. So this inserted, it will take the data from which table inserted, instead of department table directly. It takes the data from inserted and deleted. So I'll tell you what is this. These are basically SQL Server provided as the virtual tables. Okay, so whenever you insert any record in the department table, so what will happen in background, SQL Server database engine will insert those record what is just now inserted in the department table in the virtual table inserted. Okay, similarly, when a deletion happens on the department table or any table, so SQL Server database engine will keep that particular record which has been deleted to the deleted virtual table. So this is also called the so these are the so from this virtual table, trigger is taken the record and inserted into the department audit. Okay, and we keep the union all because we need both operations to be audited, both operations to be logged into the department audit table. Okay, so for that, see, I'll tell you the statement again to make you understand. So it is inserting the record in the department audit from the inserted table and from the deleted table. Okay, so let me go ahead and execute this trigger. Okay, and this trigger is created on the department table. So I'll expand it, refresh this trigger, and see here the trigger has been created. Trigger department audit. Now, how we can check it? We can check it, we can insert a new record and we can delete a new record, and we'll see it. So we already have one query there. We already have written insert and update command. So let me make use of it. So here we have already insert, update and delete command. So let me, we do not need a update here. Let me comment it out. So let's say I am going to delete this record. Okay, department 17. Let me execute it. Okay, we do not have a record with the 17, that means. Okay, let me see. I have the 12. Department ID 12. Okay, so there is a reference key which we have with the department ID. There is a department history table. In that table, we need to delete first, and post that we will be able to delete the record from the department table. So there is a reference key statement. So let me go ahead and insert a record meanwhile. Okay, with a unique index. Okay, this is already been inserted. I'm sorry. So this record is already been there. So that is why it is saying the duplicate key is there. So let me go ahead and insert a new record with the name test 6. See, the row is inserted and one row affected. This is saying that trigger is insert also invoked. So we will see this department audit as this trigger is inserting the records in the department audit table. So let me execute and see. See, the record is inserted. It is the operation, you just focus on this operation. So insert. So it is saying that the insertion is happened on the department table on what timing? On 23rd of May on 15:08 timing. Okay, so insertion has happened. Now at the same time, now I try to, let me see, test 6, department ID with the 24. So I'll go ahead and try to delete this department ID with 24. See, the record has been deleted. If you go ahead and see, 24 is no longer exist here. Okay, and if you wanted to see in the audit table, see, the new record has been inserted and the operation is delete. Okay, so it says that the deletion has been happened on 23rd of May at this timing. Okay, So this way you can create an audit of a particular table. So you can keep track of whatever has happening or whatever has happened uh, earlier in the table. And now you can do it for update as well, but I have not kept the update, because for update what has happened, uh, at the background, whenever an update has happened on the table, in background SQL Server database engine first delete the record and then insert the record. So for update operation we would have a two records will be inserted. So let me show you with a demonstration. Let me add this, alter this trigger, and I'll add this update operation as well in the same trigger. So let me alter this trigger and let me update something is this table. So as of now we have a two records in audit. Okay, so let me go ahead and update some row. Update department, set uh, department name as test, DAPT. Okay, where department, let me see which department ID, 22. Okay, so as of now the name is test 5, and we are going to change it as test department. So this table department audit, just focus on this table. As of now it has only two record. Okay, whenever I update it, so so what will happen? See, two rows affected and one row affected here. So one row affected, this represents that update has happened on the table, but two rows affected, this represents the two rows is inserted into the department audit. If I execute it, see, so this was the earlier table, and this was the earlier record. It shows that the record was earlier with the test 5, and this got deleted, and then it insert a new record with the test department. So in background database, whenever an update happened on the table, so the database engine first deleted and then inserted. So that is why in audit table we got the two entries. Okay, so I hope that's all for today's session. I hope the things are clear. And in case if you have any doubts regarding the triggers in SQL Server, just comment me in the comment box. Thank you and have a nice day.